Hey, and welcome back to another video on the CFC Central channel. My name is Sam, and as always, we are going to pick out two major talking points from the previous game and try to break it down in great detail. So without any further ado, let's get straight to it. Firstly, you may have noticed this, but Cucurella's role and positioning against Bournemouth was, well, odd. He started at left back in a 4-2-3-1, and we've seen him either slot in as the extra centre back or invert into the pivot. Here, however, you can see him slot into attacking midfield in the 3-box-3, something he's never done before at Chelsea. So why did Maresca choose to deploy him here, knowing very well that Cucurella has 1 goal and 5 assists in 4 league seasons? The first reason is this guy. This is Ghanaian winger Antoine Semenyo, and Chelsea's coaching staff were 100% aware that he is the Premier League's most prolific shooter this season, outshooting even Erling Haaland. Before the game, his 17 shots accounted for 37.7% of Bournemouth's total shots, and his 2 goals, 1 assist formed a majority of their 5 goals this season. Logically, keeping him quiet would be key to dulling Bournemouth's threat. In the 6th minute, we see the first instance of how Cucurella's new role would shape the game. Chelsea here are in their 3-2 build-up, with Disasi, the right back, joining in as the third centre-back. Both pivots throughout the game stayed deep. You'll notice Cucurella pushing up from left back into the attacking third in the left half space. His marker, the danger man Semenyo, follows him deep. This immediately has several repercussions. A. You're taking Bournemouth's fiercest shooter away from goal. B. The lack of the extra man has left Bournemouth outnumbered 4 versus 5 plus Sanchez in the first phase. And C. With Cucurella pushing up, the left back slot is vacant. Pedro Neto, the left winger, understands this and drops into the space to receive a simple pass. This forces Bournemouth's right back Smith to push up, and these are the bare bones of Maresca's plan for the attack on the left-hand side. Cucurella stays in the half space to pin Semenyo, preventing him from helping his fullback. Neto, an explosive winger, is now 1 versus 1 against 33-year-old Adam Smith. In this 2 versus 2, Neto tries a 1-2 to attack the space behind Smith, but the ball from Cucurella is overhit and goes out for a throw. Minutes later, we see a slight variation. Here again, a 3-2 with Cucurella not in the picture, but this time the vacant left-back zone is occupied by Colville. Notice the spacing between Chelsea's centre-backs. It is far too big for Bournemouth centre-forward Evan Nielsen to cover alone, without the help of the right winger Semenyo, who has been dragged deep by Cucurella. With a 5 versus 4 advantage, Chelsea easily play their way to Colville, and with Semenyo and Smith both pinned by Cucurella and Neto, Colville now has the space to carry, something he's very, very good at. He drives forward and you can see Cucurella running and dragging Semenyo even deeper, creating more space for Colville. Vega, meanwhile, slots in as the left centre-back temporarily. Colville passes to Neto, and you can see the disorder his carry has caused with 3 players now on Neto and none on Colville. When the ball comes to Vega, you can see Neto and Colville indicating where he should play the ball, but after a nervy start where he made a couple of mistakes, Vega decides not to take a risk. In the above clips, you can see what happens when Semenyo stays close to Cucurella, but what happens when he doesn't? Here in the 16th minute, a 3-2 on the half line with Cucurella as a left 10 in the box midfield and Colville is receiving. He pushes up into the space and passes to Neto, who draws out Smith again. Semenyo this time looks to double team Neto, but as soon as he does, this is Cucurella's trigger to underlap. There are a few things to highlight here. Since the left side is overloaded, the spaces between players are quite short, making it easy to counter-press and to go from pressing or marking one player to another very quickly. Christie, for example, is on Vega initially, but since Semenyo pushes on Neto, he leaves Vega and tracks Cucurella instead, making it a 3 versus 2 advantage for Bournemouth. The smart choice for Neto here would be to find the free Vega, who can then look for a switch for Noni versus Kirkesh on the underloaded right-hand side. Vega, after all, excels at these long passes and switches into the box. However, Neto uses Cucurella for an ambitious 1-2, is tackled, loses the ball, but wins a lucky corner. The left side remained the most lucrative progressive zone throughout the game. Here in the 34th minute, Jackson wins the ball in the middle third, and even before Colville receives, Cucurella is off, again pushing Semenyo back. Note the timestamp here, 33:30, Colville is able to carry under no pressure for 5 seconds because all other options on the left-hand side are pinned. It is 7 seconds later when Colville is in the attacking third that Bournemouth finally panic. Semenyo loses Cucurella. Sabani is watching the ball, so Jackson makes a clever run on the blind side and is expertly found by Colville's through ball. The shot from Jackson's weak foot is good, but straight at the goalkeeper. Cucurella's advanced position as the left 10 also created some other interesting avenues. Here in the beginning of the 14th minute, Chelsea try building down the right side with Disasi. Palmer, who was tightly man-marked throughout the game by Lewis Cook, drops deep and wide, opening up a gap between Bournemouth's defensive midfielders. Jackson drops in it and looks to lay it off to Caicedo. Now you can see Cucurella here behaving like a left 10 would, dropping in between lines to receive with Semenyo completely losing track of his man. With Jackson dragging out Senesi and both fullbacks pinned by Neto and Madueke, Chelsea have a 3 versus 3 on the last line. And just to show you how much space Cucurella had if the ball had found him, the first half, however, proved very stale from an attacking standpoint. 0.18 xg, 0 big chances, and 1 shot on target. With Cucurella pinning Semenyo and isolating the left winger, the onus was on Neto to either beat Smith 1v1 or find Cucurella's underlaps into the box. He was unable to offer either, ending the half with no shots and completing only one of his 2 attempted dribbles. Enter Jadon Sancho. Now we all know that the United spell didn't go well for Sancho, but in 3 full seasons in the Bundesliga, here are the metrics in which he finished top 5 in the league once. Here are the ones in which he finished top 5 twice, and these are the metrics he finished top 5 for in all 3 seasons. When you threaten in so many ways, defenders tend to pay extra attention. The millennial term for this, I believe, is aura, and the technical term used in basketball and football is gravity. The tendency to draw or demand the attention of multiple defenders voluntarily or involuntarily. Take the 56th minute as an example. Here, Chelsea are at a 4 versus 3 disadvantage in attacking transition, and the ball comes to Sancho. When he attempts a take on, you can see the fullback Smith and the defensive midfielder Christie try to double team Sancho. Sancho, despite the pressure, delays, and with that vital extra second, is able to draw Zabani's eye, allowing Jackson to slowly peel away. This is Sancho's gravity in all its glory, his willingness and composure on the ball to provoke attention in a high-pressure zone has split a 4v3 into a 3v2 and a 1v1. From here, he finds one of his trademark short passes into the box, and Jackson, with only Senesi for company, has time to take a touch onto his stronger foot and get a shot away. Here, 2 minutes after half-time, the ball moves right in build-up to Disasi. You can see Cucurella is again very narrow as an attacking midfielder, dragging Semenyo with him. This means Sancho is now isolated on the left against Smith. Disasi finds a nice ball to the dropping Jackson, and by now Semenyo has already lost precious yards on Cucurella, who has to stretch to reach the pass before poking it to Sancho. When the pass finds Sancho, he waits for the underlap and times a nicely measured pass into Cucurella's path. Again, Cucurella finds himself in a position that is an attacker's dream. He can shoot far post for a decently challenging finish, or he can pick a cutback into a valuable 3v3 zone. His delivery, however, is slightly uppish, and Madueke can't connect. In the 69th minute, you can see Vega on the ball, who passes it wide to Sancho. Again, note Cucurella's position and how it prevents Semenyo from doubling up to help his 33-year-old fullback. Sancho takes full advantage and nutmegs Smith before charging towards the box. Watch what he does next. At this point, Semenyo disengages from Cucurella to offer a 2v1. Sancho once more waits and waits until it's a 3v1. Again, great awareness of his own gravity before cleverly sneaking a pass through the 3 defenders to his left hand Cucurella, who has space and time in a zone where there usually is none. In the 66th minute, we see the same pattern, Cucurella underlapping and keeping Semenyo away, isolating Sancho against Smith. Sancho again delays, waits to catch Semenyo's eye before nonchalantly playing a pass into the box for Cucurella's underlap without even breaking a stride. Minutes later, in the 70th, Cucurella again receives in front of Semenyo and finds Sancho isolated. Sancho holds on to the ball for 4 seconds as he moves to the edge of the box before playing a through ball for Felix. Sancho ended the game with 3 passes into the penalty box, joint highest despite only playing one half. Give him an underlapping or overlapping support and surround him with good options, and there is no question at all that he will create vital chances. Here, Sancho is again 1v1 with Araujo, who was subbed on for Smith and is a faster player. Against players physically stronger or quicker than him, Sancho relies a lot on these distracting runs around him to pick his passes. Here, the underlap that makes the goal comes not from Cucurella but from Vega. Despite this diagonal 3 versus 4 disadvantage, the underlap creates the vital hesitation in Araujo and Zabarni, allowing Sancho to pick Nkunku in the box. Yes, Vega's underlap leaves an ocean of space in the middle of the park, which is the reason why we suck at defensive transitions and why poor Caicedo has to do the work of 2 defensive midfielders. But all of that would require a separate video. But here, giving Sancho underlapping support, pinning his double team opponent, helped make his job infinitely easier. If you'd like to read a detailed scouting report on Sancho, I did one a few days ago covering his game in full depth. This link will be in the description. Cucurella, to his credit, had a very underrated performance. You can see here early on in the game how pissed off Semenyo was with Cucurella constantly taking him away from goal. Semenyo managed only 3 shots all game and none on target, his lowest tally in the Premier League this season. As the left 10, Cucurella also found himself in positions that you don't want him to be in, a clear drawback of playing him in that attacking midfield role. With Enzo and Dewsbury Hall ill on the day, it felt like a resourceful tweak. But one wonders whether stopping Semenyo was really worth it when Bournemouth managed 19 shots, hit the woodwork, and missed a big chance. Chelsea have already conceded 50 shots in the Premier League in just 4 games against Palace, City, Wolves, and Bournemouth, a tally that puts them 10th best in the Premier League. The elite sides, City and Liverpool, have conceded under 30. A lot of work left to be done, but fortunately, a lot of time left for improvement too. If you've gotten this far, as always, thanks so much for watching. Hope you're all doing well. And as always, up the Chels.